Hello, everyone from Beijing, and thanks for the introduction for Stefan. I'm quite sorry that our General Secretary Qin Haiyan couldn't make it today because he's on another seminar. So I will speak here instead of him and to give you a very brief introduction about the Chinese market situation here in today. And I'm from Chinese Wind Energy Association and responsible for the market research. So first, I would like to share with you the overall gross power generation in China. So we can see from the last 10 years in China, our proportion of power generation from renewable energy grows to 26%, and even 6% power generation from wind energy. And it's quite huge in progress with that of that in 10 years ago. And so from this slide, we can find the share of wind power installation in Chinese power market. Just now as the worldwide overview has mentioned. So last year we added 27.5 gigawatts new installation. So makes the total installation up to 237 gigawatts, an increase of 400% in the past 10 years. And for offshore wind, we have 2.5 gigawatts for the last year, and which makes the total offshore wind in China up to 7 gigawatts. So that's a general overview for the Chinese wind market. And as everybody knows, the strong impact of COVID-19 also hit the Chinese wind market. So we should say that the pandemic's record at the beginning of this year has a very strong impact on China's wind industry. So most enterprises shut down in January and February and did not resume production until late February. So as traffic bans and quarantine measures become barriers to the resumption of production and logistics and components, enterprises are operating far from full capacity. Maybe today is about 7% capacity. We should say the control of the breakout in China is very effective, but the impact on wind energy is far from eliminated. So the production capacity in respect of components and turbines has dropped drastically. And some shipments of wind turbines will decline by roughly 30% throughout the year, and with a 6 months or longer delay in equipment supply. So for the onshore wind construction, that will be delayed at least 6 months. Offshore construction is more seriously restricted by window period for construction and international supply chain, and will be postponed even longer. We see maybe 8 months to 10 months. And also we should say the global outbreak is getting severe. So that's exacerbating the already acute shortage of some components and adding stress on wind power development in China. Because we somewhat raw materials and components from the international markets like Italy, Germany, and Ecuador. So that's quite a delay the Chinese construction progress. At the same time, under the China's wind subsidy reduction policy, onshore wind projects approved prior to the end of 2018, but not connected to the grid by the end of this year, or all the projects approved from January the 1st of last year to the end of this year, but not connected to the grid by the end of 2021, that will not be granted to the feed-in tariff. So if such grid connection But false due to the outbreak fails to connect, that means the enterprises will face huge pressures and losses. So, given these realities, and in order to safeguard stable investment and the development scale in the industry, enterprises call for postponement of the deadline for grid connection, as mentioned above, thus granting more construction time to enterprises. So the government might take necessary actions to mitigate the negative impact of the breakout and ensure stable investment, growth, and employment. Enterprises throughout the industry chain have worked together to reduce construction cycles by closer coordination and cooperation, careful plans, and reduction of turnaround time. So we are expecting the government will issue some policies to mitigate the impact, like give our longer, for example, like 6 months longer to get into the grid. So that's quite critical and important for the industry. So on the whole, the impact of COVID-19 is still continuing the impact. And so we need, for the Chinese market, for our perspective, we need more cooperation and coordination from the international supply chains. So we see the wind market for the whole world is just one and not separated markets. So Chinese market is the integrated part of the whole. So we need more cooperation with other markets and other companies. So, and we need to share our experiences and the supply chains. That's all I wanted to share here with you. Yeah, thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much. That was a very, very good, precise, and also timely presentation. I think it's very interesting what you said. On the one hand is this really fantastic growth that you had last year, but also the problems that you're facing as a first country that's gone through the Corona crisis and almost overcome it. What you say about international supply chains, how important they are for also you as China. I suggest that we keep questions later. There's just one question that maybe you can answer right away. How is reduced electricity demand going to affect the wind projects in China?
So for the statistics and some details from the government, we see it has a really impact on the electricity consumption in China. But especially for the first quarter of this year, maybe reduced 2%. But for the whole year, we see it will stick to about a 3 to 4% increase rate. Yeah.
Okay, so that is not so much. Good. So again, thank you very much. If you stay on board with us until the first final round, then we can maybe have more questions. And again, those who have questions, please type them in the chat, and then we can later come back to them. Again, thank you to China. All the best to you. And we will then continue.